Hi folks, this is Tony for A Minute to Midnight, and I'm presenting a short video today on 5G. Is it safe, and is it something great, or is it something that we will live to regret in the future? Yesterday I received a text from my service provider Vodafone here in New Zealand, and the text said, "We're excited to share that we're rolling out our 5G network in New Zealand from December. It's a huge step towards the future of connectivity that will ultimately change how we live, work and play. Be inspired now." And then there is a link to a page on the Vodafone website.
4G to 5G. It sounds like a small change, one little step, right? But 5G is more revolution than evolution. An exponential shift in speed, power and quality that will reshape the world as we know it.
Of course, it's not just in New Zealand where 5G is being rolled out. It's being rolled out all around the world, and that includes Australia, where Optus has announced plans for 1,200 5G sites in its first wave. Australia became the third country in the world to use 5G networks when Telstra launched its network on May 28th, following angry protests from anti-5G groups who took to the streets in Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth and Sydney, arguing that the technology had not been safely tested and could pose a threat to smartphone users and children. But Australian Centre for Electromagnetic Bioeffects Research Director Dr. Sarah Lauren said the information spreading at Stop 5G protests was incorrect and was only serving to create unnecessary fear. She says Dr. Lauren, I don't know if that's how you're supposed to pronounce it, who is based at the University of Wollongong, said despite information to the contrary, energy from 5G networks was less powerful than the technology that came before it and would only be absorbed by the skin. The higher frequencies actually mean that the energy doesn't penetrate as deeply into the body than what 4G and 3G technology has. Even though there'll be more antennas required for 5G, what that means is they can run at lower power levels than previous technology. Scientists admit that they've been struggling to get their message across amid aggressive rallies and were concerned about the growing number of people with psychosomatic reactions to radio waves. I received an email last night from John Heisman, who I've had on the A Minute to Midnight show before discussing 5G, and in response to that last comment, John had this to say: "The old chestnut, it's all in your head, you're just imagining that you're ill. EMF is harmless." Well, how come the telecommunications companies like Telstra have signs like these at the base of their towers? And John has taken photos of the warning signs at the base of 5G towers in Australia.
People like Joel Moskowitz are concerned and see cell phones as a massive risk factor to public health.
We have no assurance that 5G is safe, for that matter, that 4G is safe. I've only found 3 studies on 4G. They came out of China, and they all indicated changes in brain function.
Is there a catch?
There is, just a small one. It might kill you.
Good to know.
So you'll find.
How so?
Well, a few days ago, actually, a group of scientists, doctors, environmental organizers, and concerned citizens got together and they called for the urgent stop to the deployment of 5G. They said that it's been proven harmful to human bodies, that this is an experiment on humanity, and that this should be called a crime under international law. Let's talk about today's technology, what we have going on today. Your phone is constantly sending electromagnetic fields in and out of each other. Whether or not you're receiving a notification right now, all of our digital tech sends this data back and forth, right, using these invisible microwave radiation signals, aka radio frequency radiation.
Right.
That's today's tech. We have every cell tower, every router constantly pulsing with radiation, whether or not you're using it. Science shows that this causes DNA damage, cancer, among other things. But don't take my word for it.
And that's just with 4G.
That's just with today's technology.
Before we get to 5G, right now you got some of it, but not that much.
Let's listen to what Dr. Sharon Goldberg has to say. She's a clinical researcher and an internal medicine physician. This is what she has to say about what we're using today.
Wireless radiation has biological effects, period. This is no longer a subject for debate when you look at PubMed and the peer-reviewed literature. These effects are seen in all life forms: plants, animals, insects, microbes. In humans, we have clear evidence of cancer now. There is no question. We have evidence of DNA damage, cardiomyopathy, which is the precursor of congestive heart failure, neuropsychiatric effects.
This article from July 20th, 2019, the first report of 5G injury from Switzerland. The first reported injury of 5G in a news report comes from Switzerland, where 5G has been launched in 102 locations. The weekly French language Swiss magazine, however you pronounce it, Illustre, interviewed people living in Geneva after the 5G rollout with alarming details of illness. In the article, "With 5G we feel like guinea pigs," posted on July 18th, 2019, they report neighbours met to discuss their many common symptoms and many unanswered questions. As soon as the antennas were installed, several residents and entire families in the heart of Geneva reported similar unusual symptoms of loud ringing in their ears, intense headaches, unbearable earaches, insomnia, chest pain, fatigue, and not feeling well in the house. 29-year-old Geneva resident Johann Purachild called up Swisscom and was told that indeed the 5G cell towers were activated on the same day he began to feel the symptoms. When others called Swisscom, they were told everything is legal and within guidelines. Dr. Bertrand Bucks, who has also called for a 5G moratorium, states he has seen more and more patients with similar symptoms. He notes, "In this case, our authorities are going against common sense. We risk experiencing a catastrophe in a few years. No serious study exists yet, which is not surprising when we know that this technology was developed in China, then to the United States." The city of Brussels has halted work on preparing for 5G networks amid fears that the amount of radiation being produced has left citizens as guinea pigs. I have had Dana Ashley on the Minute to Midnight show before discussing 5G, and she does a great job of exposing it. And here are a few short clips from her latest video, which can be found on her YouTube channel.
The race to 5G is a race America must win, and it's a race, frankly, that our great companies are now involved in. We've given them the incentive they need. It's a race that we will win.
Wireless companies in the U.S. say they'll have to install about 300,000 new antennas for the rollout of 5G. That is roughly equal to the total number of cell phone towers built over the past 3 decades.
My question for you, particularly Mr. Gillen and Mr. Perry, how much money has the industry committed to supporting additional independent research? Is that independent research ongoing? Has any been completed? Where can consumers look for it? And we're talking about research on the biological effects of this new technology.
There are no industry-backed studies, to my knowledge, right now. Happy to visit with you as to what opportunities you think there needs to be more studies, and we're always for more science. We also rely on what the scientists tell us.
It's believed 5G will be available all over the world by the year 2020. According to an article published in the New Zealand Medical Journal, even without 4G, cellular technology can cause health defects such as cancer and dementia. The scientist who wrote the article says that currently it's not mainstream opinion, but soon research will back up the hypothesis. Unfortunately, until there's enough research to back up this belief, 5G will continue to be rolled out.
Here's what's really dangerous about 5G. I mean, it's being sold to us as super awesome. You know, your toaster can talk to your door lock. It can talk to your self-driving car. Like, you have a thermostat in your home that knows when you're home. You have these smart homes. Like, it just really sold to us as being awesome. But the downside is that with this rollout, it will be impossible to exist in a city or to walk outside without being exposed. There's going to be a cell tower in front of every few houses. And this means that your personal choices, whether or not you personally use a cell phone or hold lit 10 inches away from your head, that cannot escape you from your radiation exposure. So let's listen to what Dr. David Carpenter, another public health physician and actually a signatory to this international appeal, had to say. I asked him about the safety testing that's been done with this 5G rollout.
Okay. There's been no safety testing of 5G. The reason I think that it's dangerous is that there isn't any specific information to 5G, but we know that radio frequency radiation of 3G and 4G are associated with a whole variety of different human health effects. Everyone is going to be exposed to radio frequency radiation more continuously and at higher intensities. And that's going to cause more human disease.
Approximately 600 peer-reviewed research reports were published that show how dangerous radio frequency radiation can be. According to the reports, this type of radiation can be linked to diabetes, infertility, various types of cancer, and psychiatric disorders. It appears the radiation issue is already serious. When 5G rolls out and around the world, things are only going to get much worse, according to these experts.
3G and 4G radiation is around 1 to 2 billion hertz, or 1 to 2 gigahertz. 5G moves up in the spectrum, using frequencies from 1 gigahertz all the way up to 70 gigahertz. Wireless safety advocates say that not only do we already know this kind of radiation can cause effects beyond heating, but that research is being influenced and suppressed by the telecommunications industry.
5G beamforming. Beamforming is a completely new approach to wireless networks that dramatically improves upload and download performance and overall network capacity too. It works like this. Your local 5G base station broadcasts several simultaneous signals. The network analyzes feedback from your mobile device to work out the best path for the base station to reach your device. Then it dedicates that path to your data, your call, or media, or email. And it does this for everyone using the network. Focusing specific beams on specific users this way means Vodafone 5G delivers faster speeds and lower latency with better coverage and capacity as well. Life will never be the same.
Today's cellular antennas broadcast information in every direction at once, and all of those crossing signals could cause serious interference. Beamforming is like a traffic signaling system for cellular signals. Instead of broadcasting in every direction, it would allow a base station to send a focused stream of data to a specific user. This precision prevents interference and it's way more efficient. That means stations could handle more incoming and outgoing data streams at once.
If you think 5G and the rollout of 5G is all about faster internet and better cell phones, well, that's actually not the main reason for 5G. It's just a byproduct. Now I want to show you some of the real reasons why 5G is being developed.
While 5G networks are expected to be up to 100 times faster than current 4G networks, it doesn't end there. 5G is being marketed as a platform that will enhance the user experience of many different technologies and devices. Take this 5G robot on display at the 2019 MWC trade show in Barcelona. It can serve you a coffee. The current 4G network just isn't nimble enough to operate a machine like this.
So the robot itself is now an avatar. It connects to the cloud over mobile network.
In addition to serving coffee, 5G is expected to make it possible to automate more manufacturing by improving the efficiency of machines and allowing humans to work alongside them with augmented reality headsets.
So there we see one small clue as to what 5G is really for. It's for smart cities, the Internet of Things and connecting everything together in smart cities where robots will replace humans in the workforce to a large extent. So think about it for a minute. If robots and machines replace the humans to a large extent in the workforce, why are the elites going to require so many working class people on this planet? Or will they like to get rid of a large percentage of the average person because they are no longer necessary and just useless eaters?
The race to 5G is a race America must win, and it's a race, frankly, that our great companies are now involved in. We've given them the incentive they need. It's a race that we will win.
Now here are a couple of excerpts from an article I found at a website called radiationhealthrisks.com. rollout.com. 5G radiation dangers, what you need to know is the title of the article. And down in the article, there's a section called 5G as military weapons. What a lot of people do not realise is that governments and other global entities are behind the rollout of 5G for more reasons than just increasing data capacities for civilian communications. 5G has huge military uses and functions. Some of you may have heard or remember US President Donald J. Trump creating the new US Space Force. Well, he's talking about 5G technology. Basically, right now we have a technology race between the superpowers of the world, and implementing 5G is a key part of winning this race. And being the first nation to fully implement 5G will enable control of space, including cyberspace, and create other military weapon opportunities that will give a huge advantage to the most advanced nation. So government and other global powerhouses all have a vested interest in rolling out 5G as fast as humanly possible. Another aspect of 5G is its ability to be used in global surveillance. In China, under President Xi Jinping, the New York Times said the Chinese government has vastly expanded domestic surveillance. Chinese companies like Huawei and ZTE are constructing smart cities in Pakistan, the Philippines and Kenya, featuring extensive built-in surveillance technology, and although selling advanced equipment for profit is different than sharing technology with an express geopolitical purpose, these new capabilities may plant the seeds for global surveillance. As governments become increasingly dependent upon Chinese technology to manage their populations and maintain power, they will face greater pressure to align with China's agenda. And we know that countries including New Zealand are rejecting Huawei and the surveillance at the moment, but that does not mean that global surveillance will not follow through other companies and by other means. And I'm sure many of you are aware that China has hundreds of millions of surveillance cameras within China and a social credit system where those cameras pick people's movements up, and if you jaywalk, for instance, you can have money deducted from your account instantly, from your bank account. And while in countries like New Zealand they've become very wary of allowing Chinese companies to become involved in the rolling out of 5G because of the potential security hazards, in no way does that guarantee that 5G will not be used for surveillance purposes at some future point. And with the increase in the number of cell towers, you won't be able to get away from a cell tower under a surveillance system because they will be so close together. But it doesn't just stop there with cell towers, because we also have 5G satellites being put into orbit by the tens of thousands.
Elon Musk is working to revolutionize the internet by building a global communication system that will blanket the world in Wi-Fi. He plans to send a mega constellation of nearly 12,000 satellites into outer space, which will orbit above Earth and provide internet connectivity to the surface below.
You could be in a jungle in South America, and if you had just an internet link somehow, you'd have access to all of humanity's information. So it would actually effectively create a superorganism.
It's an ambitious project that will aim to provide internet to every region of the planet.
And I thought the internet would be something that would dramatically affect the future of humanity. It would be like acquiring a nervous system.
So what do we know about the satellites? Well, each one weighs around 385 kilograms and will use lasers to communicate with each other.
Well, now I want to get into what I believe to be the scariest aspect of 5G. 5G is actually a stepping stone towards 6G technology. And Elon Musk is essentially a transhumanist. And Musk's idea of a neural lace system would allow AI, artificial intelligence, to work symbiotically with the human brain, signals to be picked up and transmitted wirelessly but without any interference of natural neurological processes, essentially making it a digital brain upgrade. Imagine writing and sending text just using your thoughts.
If you assume any rate of advancement in AI, we will be left behind by a lot. We would be, so far below them in intelligence that it would be like, a pet. The solution that seems maybe the best one is to have an AI layer. If you think of like you've got your limbic system, your cortex, and then a digital layer, sort of a third layer above the cortex, that could work well and symbiotically with you. Effectively merging in a symbiotic way with digital intelligence revolves around eliminating the I/O constraint. So it'd be some sort of direct cortical interface.
And so, folks, there is the guy that is putting 12,000 5G satellites into orbit. And if you think that sounds scary, that's nothing compared to listening to Ray Kurzweil, a head engineer at Google and another transhumanist.
The universe will ultimately be infused with computronium and with the vast intelligence of our human-machine civilization. So the universe will wake up, and we will intelligently decide its fate.
We'll be destroyed for sure. This is madness.
By 2045, we'll have expanded the intelligence of our human-machine civilization a billion-fold. That will be a singularity. And we borrowed this metaphor from physics to talk about an event horizon that's hard to see beyond.
According to Wikipedia, technological singularity is a hypothetical future point in time at which technological growth becomes uncontrollable and irreversible, resulting in unfathomable changes to human civilization.
Wake up! We're doomed.
20 years from now, we'll have nanobots, because another exponential trend is the shrinking of technology. They'll go into our brain, through the capillaries, and basically connect our neocortex to synthetic neocortex in the cloud, providing extension of our neocortex. Now today, you have a computer in your phone, but if you need 10,000 computers for a few seconds to do a complex search, you can access that for a second or two in the cloud. In the 2030s, you need some extra neocortex, you'll be able to connect to that in the cloud directly from your brain. And our thinking then will be a hybrid of biological and non-biological thinking. But the non-biological portion is subject to my law of accelerating returns. It will grow exponentially.
When you combine artificial intelligence and transhumanism with a cryptocurrency, a digital currency, it becomes easy for me to see how we can end up with the Revelation chapter 13 scenario, where it says he was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, and that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. That's verse 15. And then in verse 16, he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads. And by the way, the King James Version says in rather than on. And that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the number of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666.